By the mysteries of the crucible they are given form and strength. By the molten fires and pounding pistons of the forge they are armed and armoured. By the Votan and by the Fane are they given wisdom and purpose, and by the searing wrath of the hearth are they filled with the fury to overcome any foe. The Leagues of Votan. There are few books that Games Workshop have created and published that have caused as much controversy as this codex that I hold in my hands. Now, to me, the Squat Return was awesome. There's people out there that saying, they're called the Leagues of Votan because copyright issues and things like that. Whatever, I don't care. They're squats. End of the day, the squats have finally come back, which is, it's awesome for the lore. Obviously it's got huge implications because they are supposed to be, a race of peoples that have, better technology than the Imperium. They haven't been sort of hampered by the STC ban. And, I'm glad they're back, which is, it's a huge W in my opinion. It's an extra race. One thing I'm not keen on is the fact that they are now considered Xenos. Obviously, they are abhuman, so technically, they're not human, but they're part of the Imperium. So I'm a little bit confused, as to why the Games Workshop have chosen to call them a Xenos race. Now I know the Votan. Obviously, they're the gods of the kin. So the kin are obviously what the squats are. They are the kin, and they have the different leagues. And the Votan are the thing that they they worship. Then they sort of, the Votan are sacred to the kin, which is cool. At the same time, it's one of those ones where it's like the dwarves of any race pretty much have their own sort of ideologies and own gods, which is fair enough. So yeah, it's sort of keeping in that theme, which is nice. I've got the codex in front of me because I got the Leagues of Votan starter set. Now, as of time recording this, they have dropped the FAQ. They have dropped that video where they said, we're sorry, whatever. Okay. In my opinion, listen to your playtesters. You're a multi-billion-dollar company. It isn't acceptable for you to release a book that needs an FAQ or an additional PDF or something within, a week or so of it dropping as a special edition version. The codex that's been printed, I imagine it's been printed for the release of the squats or for the release of the Votan, is going to come out and it's already out of date, up for pre-order and out of date. It's becoming laughable, but at the same time, that's, I suppose, what 40k in general seems to have become. A lot of my community and people that I speak to are talking, more about Horus Heresy, more about Adeptus Titanicus, more about games that aren't stupidly skewed in the terms of balance. They released a Meta Watch photograph a couple of weeks ago where they said that Tyranids were one of the best armies, which is fantastic. Tyranids deserve their time in the sun, but that time in the sun, I can guarantee you, is not going to be that long. It's going to be short-lived. And how long have Tyranids been part of the universe? Forever. So it's like, yeah, what gives? Because now they're getting their time in the sun, but for what? They're only going to be there for a couple of weeks, maybe a month or two, if they're lucky. So reading through this, back to the squats. Reading through this, there's really cool sort of background on the squats, where they've come from, what they've been doing, which is awesome. When it comes to squats, obviously, Minion is the dwarf of the company. I'm the elf, he's the dwarf, and Croydon, usually is the man. She chooses the fact that, she prefers human species. As evidence with her Space Marines, with her Minas Tirith. So, it's nice that we've all got our own race, and also Croydon is the man. Like, she's the man, but it was something that, with squats coming back was something that I was interested in because they are, the squats, I do Necromunda squats, so of course I'm going to be interested in doing 40k squats. Now, we don't actually play 40k as a studio. It's something that we sort of stopped touching when it was stratagem after stratagem, where you could walk across the board in your movement, you could then run in your shooting and shoot and then charge in the first turn. And that was something that way back to the days of the Red Corsairs, that I got sort of hampered with multiple times, and it was like, well, where's the fun in this? You've just wiped out my entire army straight away. So cheers, nice, awesome. So but yeah, no, so basically when it came to squats, Minion and I were talking about the box, and he wanted to get it off of me. For what I paid from Games Workshop, he wanted to buy it off of me for RRP, and I'd sort of put it to one side. And then all of a sudden, the day before he was going to get it, he said to me, actually, I just want to not do it. I don't want to be doing squats. He's got enough to focus on and things like that. Which was fine, because it meant that I could do them and take it from there. So one thing that then we sort of talked about with Croydon was who should do squats. If Minion doesn't want to do them, do I want to do them, or does she want to do them? And she very quickly said, she's not interested, she's got enough on, things like that. So I said, that's fine, I'll do them. But then Minion was sort of umming and ahhing. We then put the post on our Instagram, the poll, where it said who should do squats, Smorgonite or Minion, and the winner, I think, was Minion. So when I said to him, I was doing something else, and I said to him later in the evening, right, would you like me to drop the box off? He said, oh no, I've already ordered 2 sets. And I was like, well, why? This set's here, but apparently a third-party company was doing them at a discounted rate, so, fair enough. He got them at a bit of a discount, which was, great. He got 2 boxes. Obviously, I'd only got 1, so I said to him, I'll return this one. And then, all of a sudden, I had a thought. That who would be better at doing squats? Would it be the dwarf or the elf? And that, to me, seemed hilarious. If I could do squats, paint them, or build them, paint them, play a game with them, and beat Minion, I would be the better squat, and I'm an elf. Let's go. See who can do squats better. So I said to him, right, okay then, if we're both going to do them, let's do this. Let's have a 2,000 point game down the line where we've got fully painted armies between Christmas 2022 and New Year's 2022. Let's have a 2,000 point game, rules as written at the time of publishing. Okay, so FAQs, any changes, any rubbish that Games Workshop decide to change, doesn't matter. We are using the codex as it is printed to play a game of 2,000 points. That includes the points at the back of the points that we're going to use. But because we're playing just us two, our community is just us two, and we are doing the same book, I see it as fair. We're not playing against other armies, we're playing against ourselves. And basically now what it's come down to is what league we're choosing, what we're actually taking in our force. I know Minion, he's wanting to do, well, it changes, so it might have changed by the time this is published, this video. But I know he's wanting to do sort of, things with the different characters and then warriors. I don't know if he's wanting to take the Chthonian Berserks, but I have been talking about it to one of the lads in our community about what we can do with the Chthonian Berserks and whether or not we can actually get them to apparently there's a way to make them one-shot a knight, which, if that's true, a unit of I think 5 or 10 of them can one-shot a knight, which sounds like incredibly dangerous, which I'm fine with. Fantastic, let's do it. But at the same time, neither me or Minion will be taking knights. It's literally anything from this codex, and that's it, nothing else. So I'm at the moment painting up Uthar the Destined. I think I said that right, Uthar. Yeah, lovely model. It's very nice model. The squat range is going to be a very nice set of models. Okay, ignore the controversy of the codex and the fact that it's essentially a waste of paper. Obviously the laws in there, so that's cool, but the stats and the things like that might get tweaked in the future obviously makes this book very very much useless. Okay, so I really liked the Hecaton Land Fortress and the what's the other one, the Sagittaro transport. To me, they looked awesome. I think I'm going to go a different method than what I normally do. Because normally, when I'm building an army, I think, what's the biggest thing I can put in the army? How do I get it in there as easily as possible? People that played against my Windrider host for 7th edition Eldar will know that what I did was I got as many Wraith Knights as I could and then put in the Windrider host. Yeah, I was that kind of guy. But at the same time, I was only playing against people that were happy to play against that. There were people that said to me, I don't want to play against that, so I'd take Imperial Guard or my Night Lords or something a bit different, just so that obviously everybody was having a good game. But at the same time, anybody that wanted to fight against my Windrider host spam was welcome to. Or my Wraith Knight spam was welcome to. So I've sort of said to myself, I'm not going to go for the Hecaton Land Fortress. I'm not going to go for the Sagittaro. I'm going to go for, boots on the ground, lots of little squats. Chthonian Berserks, Hearthguard, and they're heavier one, the Brockia Thunderkin. I'm going to be going for those, which is fine. But I'm not going to go for, the Land Fortress and the Sagittaro, just so that I'm keeping it so it's a full squat army. And I imagine Minion might do something similar, because there isn't really, there's only 2 vehicles. You only got access to 2 vehicles with sort of the restrictions we've put on ourselves, and I think having the access to only 2 vehicles really does restrict what we want to take. It doesn't mean that we can go, here you go, here's an Imperial Knight, or here's something even bigger, Warhound or something, a Lord of War kind of thing. It is literally just making it so that it is squats versus squats. Who is the best squat? Is it Minion, the dwarf of the company, or is it Smorgonite, the elf of the company? So, so basically, the league I've chosen, let me just go back in the book to it. The league I've chosen is goodness, there's a lot of content here. It's the main one, okay? So the main league that they have is the Greater Thurian League. It allows basically models with this custom league count as having 2 models when determining control of an objective marker, or 5 if they have a wounds characteristic of 10 or more. And each time that a unit from this league is chosen to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 hit or 1 wound roll when making the unit's attack. Okay, quite cool, custom league rules. I'm not looking to break the system. He says, whilst talking about the Leagues of Votann, I'm only playing against the Leagues of Votann, so it doesn't count as breaking the system because we're both doing it. But the thing that got me was the Ancestral Judgment. Okay, now, if a unit has got 1 Judgment token already on them, they have the ability to make that 2. Okay, so every Judgment token counts as 1 more if there's already 1 selected to a unit. So it doesn't mean that anybody with no Judgment tokens on it actually has 1. What it means is if there is 1 Judgment token on a unit, it counts as 2. Okay, so essentially all you'll ever need is 2 Judgment tokens on a unit to have 3 Judgment tokens on them, which is cool. Because I know that if you can take Uthar the Destined and then another Karl, which I think you can do, there is a way to do that. So if you take them, then they can both do it, where they put a Judgment token on a unit every turn, okay, just by seeing it. And I think that special rule is the Grim Efficiency. Okay, so you can do that with Grim Efficiency, which is awesome. But then I also think that there is actually a stratagem. So what you could do is you could do it so that I think you get up to 3 units a turn with a Judgment token. So you can go, right, Uthar the Destined can see that unit, let's say his Chthonian Berserks, and then my Karl could see another unit, so let's put one on that unit. So they've now essentially got 2 Judgment tokens on them, and what that then means, obviously, everybody who knows about the current squat codex knows that the Judgment tokens are used so that if you get a 6 to wound, it counts as a 6 to hit counts as basically an unmodified 6 to wound, I think. So that's 1 Judgment token. 2 means it's a 5. A hit roll of a 5 is an unmodified wound of a 6, and then a hit roll of a 4 on 3 Judgment tokens. So all it would need is the Karl and Uthar the Destined to put their judgment tokens on the same unit, and I've got 3 judgment tokens essentially. Because obviously you're getting one for the Carl, one for Uthar the Destined, and then the third one for the League. So I'm looking at getting 3 judgment tokens on a unit very quickly. So if there is a unit of Berserks, all I would need to do is just roll loads of dice to get a hit roll of a 4, especially with the Magna Rail cannon. I've got 2 Magna Rail rifles in my squads, or 1 in each squad, and then a missile launcher. If I'm getting a 4 to hit, that counts as a modified roll of a 6. And then the special rule for the Magna Rail, means that, vulnerable saves cannot be taken against it, and on an unmodified roll of a 6, excess damage to that weapon is not lost. It keeps allocating extra damage to another model in the unit until all the excess damage has been allocated and the target unit is destroyed. Or the target unit is destroyed. Okay, so I'm getting the ability to be able to do D3 plus 3 damage, and it's spilling over. It's on a strength 9 weapon. This is, even if I don't get my 4 or more to hit, I'm still likely to wound on the strength 9 if he's using, squats as well. But the Chthonian Berserks with a toughness of 5, that's still 3s to wound, even if it's, Hearthkin Warriors, it's wounding on 2s, and then the damage or the AP is -4. He's not getting a save with his Hearthkin. He's not getting a save with his Chthonian Berserk. Oh, he is. Yeah, okay, so he's actually got a special rule. It's not an invulnerable save. Each time a model in this unit uses a wound, roll 1d6, add in 1 to the result if the damage characteristic was a 1. Okay, and a 5 up, so, okay. So he does have that ability if he decides to use Chthonian Berserks, but at the same time, that's mega. D3 plus 3, that's a potential of 6 wounds that, you're wiping off 3 Chthonian Berserks with 1 gun if you roll well, okay, automatically pretty much, yeah, okay, I understand why places like Germany, because I think the whole community basically came together and agreed that in tournaments this book is banned, okay, and like it was said on the video, they are sorry, they messed up, well, it doesn't mean that we can't enjoy it whilst Minion and I are playing. Obviously, like I've said to all the people out there that might go, well, you're only playing it because power creep or whatever. I'm playing against my best friend, we're playing each other. I wouldn't take these against somebody else, not only because I don't do 40k normally, but because it is broken. If I'm going to play 40k, I'm playing Eldar. Yeah, okay, Eldar used to be good. I don't know if they are anymore, but it's the army that I've got the most painted for. I would play Custodes, but at the same time, I've got the collector's edition Custodes Codex, but I've just not read through it. I think I read part of the lore bits, but I've put it on the shelf and it got stowed away for a bit. So I could play Custodes, but I would probably play Eldar because it's been a while since I've run my Eldar. I run my Custodes, well, I used to in Heresy 1.0. Still waiting on the PDF or the Imperium book for those to be able to be played. But yeah, so yeah, back to the squats. So yeah, the Votann plans would it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking at these models and I'm looking at like the Einherjar champion, because it comes with an Einherjar champion in the starter box, which I've sort of built up. I'm still trying to decide a paint scheme. One thing that I've done is I've kept to the mining aesthetic that my Necromunda squats have, because I've done like a rusty kind of white dirty look to them, just so that if when I come to use my squats in Necromunda that it looks like the same league kind of thing. But at the same time, just adds a little bit more level of sort of background to where have they come from. Or they've come from the mines and they've come from mining precious gems, which again is a very dwarven thing. The Rings of Power at the moment that has in it the dwarves of Moria, which is awesome to see. Obviously I won't spoil anything in there, but things are starting to transpire at the moment as to what's going to happen to them. This is recorded before the final episode has dropped, so that might have all changed, or it might have led to something else in the final episode. So yeah, basically I really like, for my Votann army, I really like all of the characters. I would definitely be taking Uthar the Destined, the Karl, Maybe Ironhear Champion and Grimnir. The Grimnir I think is really cool, like a squat wizard basically, and I really like the Corv that they can take. I just think they look very much like the Men of Iron, like the UR23 or whatever it's called from Blackstone Fortress. They look very similar to that, which is awesome. Again, the whole lore about the AI stuff, and the fact that they are considered as an equal as in the squat society is just awesome. And it's one of those ones where it's like, oh, that would be a happy world to live in. Obviously the grim dark of the future, there is only war, but it would be quite a nice thing to have AI that don't want to take over the world. It's a different viewpoint of that. Brock here, the Iron Master, I was looking at him because his model is actually previewed in the... Obviously, this is recorded before anything has been released other than the starter set, but the photographs in the codex actually show the Brock here Iron Master, and I think he's on a 60mm base with his... because he's got something that comes alongside him. Let me just find it. Sorry, I'm just trying to scoot back in the book. Brock here, the Iron Master. Yes, there's the Corv that looks like it's got like a tool bag with him, so, and that's awesome because it's an ECOG or an Ironkin assistant. It's just cool to have the ability to access lots of different characters. I'm a Custodes player, and when they first came out, they only had Trajan. Now we've got Valerian, but we've only got 2 named characters really. Obviously we've got shield captains that we can use. Still no Tribune. Oh, we do have a Blade Champion now as well. But we didn't have any named characters at the beginning. We only had sort of Trajan or a shield captain, which was just a generic guy from any unit pretty much. So it's nice to have a new army that has new characters in, which I don't follow the 40k lore religiously. I've got some of the books, but basically it would be nice if those characters, to me, it would be nice if they take part in the story and develop it further. Come back to Terra and maybe have some sort of way to wake up another Primarch or something, because 3 or 2 traitor Primarchs at the moment, Magnus and Mortarion. Obviously we've seen Khan, we've seen the model. He's not released at the moment as of time of recording, but I know he's coming soon. There's 3 traitor Primarchs. Where are the loyalist ones? We want the Lion, we want Russ, even Vulcan. But no, I'm very much excited to see where this squat off comes to. Minion and I, as I say, we're being judged on the painting and the playing of the army. Who paints it better, who plays it better, and who wins. And it's going to be a very interesting squat off, let's say. So I've actually started calling it Squatty K, purely because we're not doing any other army from 40k. It's literally just going to be squats. Okay, so that's the reason this episode's called the squat off. And yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be nice not having to worry about what Games Workshop are releasing in relation to a FAQ, to a new codex. What they've released is what they've gone done it now. That's the way I'm looking at it. You've done it, you've published it, it's got past your playtesters. I've heard that the playtesters said to them, these are a bit powerful, and they ignored them. Whatever's true, it's got past the playtesters, and it's landed in our hands, and we've said, we're going to play a game to see who the best squat is. End of. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I think towards the squat off. I don't think there's any more to add. What we will do is we will record, whether it's me and Minion or just me, we will record another episode where we talk about the game, where we talk about maybe one in between if people want to hear what's been going on in between. If like sort of preparing for the game, we will potentially record another episode. But yeah, we'll see what feedback is on the idea of this squat off before we publish anything. So yeah, I think that's pretty much everything to say. So what I will leave you with is the idiom that is both a reminder that the kin must always live up to their ancestors' expectations, and also a reassurance that the ancestors live on in the families of the kin. It can be a battle cry, a warning, or a blessing. The ancestors are watching.